Ayurveda says this is the source of mental disturbances, and it is not talked about in the Western world. It's something I use and recognize in daily clinical practice and for myself, and I'm going to let you in on today. I'm Lila. This is the Virtual Natural Healing Clinic, a virtual natural healing clinic I designed to help people like you finally find relief from anything holding them back from claiming their birthright to health and happiness. It's virtual, online, accessible. We use natural healing methods that work, that aren't rooted in wellness trends or crazes, and that offers you something that our Western medical model doesn't: individualized care that looks at you like the unique individual you are. So today we're going to talk about one of the biggest disturbances that causes mental disturbances that isn't talked about. And that is simply a misuse of the senses. So we have sense organs that are designed to process information and give it to our mind. And when these sense organs are used incorrectly, that is when we have mental disturbances. So what is happening is our system is getting assaulted in some way, and we aren't able to fully process and integrate this thing that's assaulting us, and it leads to these mental imbalances that manifest as the mental challenges that we have today. So stay with me on this. Think about somebody who goes to a lot of loud concerts and is misusing the sense of the ear and hearing. They're constantly taking in louder and a volume of noise that isn't healthy or natural, and that leads to a mental disturbance. Now that can be literal, right? Just from the ringing in the ears and our mind not being able to process how loud everything was or how much music or sound was coming at us. Anything that comes into our purview, anything that we see, we smell, we taste, we hear, we touch, we have to process. We have to process and digest it like our food is processed and digested. So if we are taking in too much that our mind can't handle, our mind starts to get a little dysfunctional. It's like so simple, yet so not looked at by most practitioners. So think about somebody who's seeing a lot of disturbing images. They're watching a lot of scary movies. They're playing a lot of violent games, or maybe they have a job or career like a firefighter or an EMT who puts them in a place of seeing a lot of just traumatic things. All of that has to be processed. And if we see too much of that, our body can't comprehend and digest and integrate it all. And that leads to mental imbalances. Or we're assaulting our taste buds with flavors that we're getting way too much of, and that's causing imbalances maybe in our gut, maybe in our digestive activity, maybe in the way that our energy is flowing through our body, and that isn't getting processed or kept up with, and that's causing imbalances. Or maybe we work in a job where we are prone to smelling a lot of bad scents. Maybe we work for a chemical factory. Maybe you work for the train, you work for big trains, and you hear and smell all the gases and the noise. Like, these things have to be processed by the body. And if they're not properly processed, they lead to mental disturbances. Now, we have a lot of mental disturbances that are rooted in childhood and what we got too much of or we didn't get enough of, and that must be considered as well. I guarantee if you cut out all the things that are overstimulating you or causing you just too much to process, loud music, violent movies, vulgar things, that you will feel so much better. And it's not just that category, it's too many electronics. We're getting an uneven amount of light coming in at us. It's very unnatural. Maybe it's just unnatural colors that we wouldn't actually see in nature, but we're seeing in, say we work at a carnival and there's lots of neon lights. These things cause mental disturbances. The farther that your mind is from nature and the natural world, the more disturbed it's going to be. Think about our mind. We come from the earth. if we are so fully removed and surrounded by artificial flavors and tastes, artificial sounds and noises, artificial sights and colors, artificial smells, then our mind is having to interpret and process so many things that it doesn't understand, and this burden gets too high, and that leads to mental imbalances. If you go spend an hour in nature, just laying there and surrendering to the fresh air and the trees and these elements that our body knows and understands, you feel better. We can connect with that. We can easily process that. That can help us process some of the other things that we're experiencing. It is really quite amazing. So I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, and Ayurveda has no separation between mind and body. When you're treating the body, you have to look at the mind. And when you're treating the mind, you have to look at the body. And it's all sorts of these imbalances that lead to health challenges, to mental health challenges, to chronic diseases, to the things that prevent us from finding our health and our happiness in this lifetime. So at the end of the day, I want you to tune in and do a little bit of an awareness exercise with me. I want you just to start noticing your senses and how they're being used. I want you to start, pick one a day. Maybe it's your nose. And you're just going to start noticing everything that you're smelling and you're coming into contact with. Maybe you live in a city and you walk downtown and there's a bad sewer smell, and you can tune in and notice how that feels. Maybe you're like me and walking back from the mailbox to the apartment, you walked by somebody's apartment who is doing laundry or cleaning a floor, doing something with Fabulosa cleaner, and then that gets assaulted in my nose, and then I have to process that. So pick an organ, pick a sense organ: eyes, ears, our fingers for touch, or our body for touch, our mouth for taste, our nose for smell, our ears for hearing. And I want you to just observe everything that sense organ comes in contact with in a day and how that feels. Now from here, once you start getting aware and you start realizing, oh, wow, loud music does make my head feel all fuzzy, cut out the loud music and see what happens. Try swapping it with a calmer form of music or something with different instruments like classical music, and just experiment and get curious and see what happens. When we can keep our inputs in balance, meaning we're not taking in more than we can process, we will feel mentally so much better. And as a bonus, meditation is a great way to help us process all of the inputs that our body comes into in a day. It is a beautiful, beautiful way that if you are trying to find health, to find happiness, to advance as a person, to find good health, meditation is absolutely foundational. Just meditate. And I'll probably do some videos on meditating later, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions and we have some easy entry points that can get you going and feeling good soon. Okay, I'm Lila. This is the Living Wellness Lounge. Thank you for being here. You are welcome to subscribe to the channel and check out our website. We offer free initial consults and a freebie below. We'll see you next time.